Hello again, everybody. This is Dr. Deborah Harris Nixon, and that's Fiona in the background. It's been a while since we've been outside, and I'm not sure we're going to be outside much longer because it is hot out here and it's not even summer. So I think we're going to start taking it inside unless I get a nice windy day. All right. So what I want to talk about today is something that has always bugged me about people who think they want to see a therapist, but they find reasons not to go. And I'm calling this Cheap Advice Friday. So the cheap advice for today is forget about whether your therapist has children because your problem is about your children, has a husband or a wife because your problem is about a husband or a wife, has someone to have experienced addiction because that's what you've done. A good therapist does not have to have had the experience that the client has had or is having. Does not. As a matter of fact, it might be a good idea if they haven't had it. You know why? Think about that for a minute. Because while you're talking, they're thinking about their stuff. And the point of the therapist is to make the entire session, the entire time about you. So unless you ask him or her, whoa, sorry guys, I guess it's that time of year. Unless you ask him or her directly, do not expect them to talk about themselves. Because if you open that can of worms, then you're taking the discussion away from what the discussion ought to be about, which is about you and yours and your problem. So whether they have had the experience, been married, young or old, that's an excuse. So get over that. For those of you who don't know, get over that. Because he or she does not have to have had the experience that you're having to know how to help you. As a matter of fact, their grounding, their knowledge is not about a specific problems. It is about all problems. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's about all problems. So there's a perspective, there's a way that they will approach a problem that irrespective of the kind of problem it is. Do you hear that? Let's see if I can make that plain. Oh, if you are a person of faith, whatever that faith is, love is the key. Love is the bottom line. Love is the basis of why you do what you do for lots of us. So it doesn't matter whether it is your best friend who needs to love, or it's your person at work who needs to love, or it's your enemy that needs to love. The bottom line is that it's about love. That's the basis for your practice. So that's what I'm saying about therapists. It does not matter what the subject matter is. The basis for the practice is what you're after. So you want to ask them questions. You want to I get ahead of myself, ask them questions about their beliefs and their practices. That's what you want to know. You don't want to know if they've been married before, they have kids, or if they ever had an abortion. That is totally irrelevant to you. It really is. Because you want to keep it about you, and a good therapist will find a very nice way to tell you that it is not about me, it is about you. And that's what you want. You want everything, the discussion, to be about you. Now there are some instances, they call it self-disclosure. There are some points in time, some situational experiences that require a therapist to say, yes, blah, 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 I've been there before, or yeah. But that is still irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant to your problem. Now, probably the most relevant way that a therapist has experienced what you're going through is then they can ask questions related to the pain that you're having, or they can ask questions that they wouldn't have thought of if they had not had the experience. But that is the only thing, and that is not necessary if they are focusing on you. So hopefully this cheap advice has been expensive enough to get you over caring about whether your therapist can identify with you, because a good therapist can identify with any human dilemma. This has been Dr. Deborah. Cheap Advice is the name of the little book I've written. If you're interested in it, go to my website, drdeborah.nixon.com, and copy one. All right. Thank you for joining me, and see you next Random Friday. And it's probably will have random advice, cheap advice. It'll probably happen randomly because it's not something I decided to do, but I thought this was a good time to just share that because that's been bothering me a long time. All right. Till next time, Dr. Deborah. Take care.